Hello and welcome to another edition of Prophetic News Update. I'm your host, Markus Verneutzer, and here is my co-moderator, Judith Millar. Jude. Hi.
Hi, Marcus. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Good. I'm good. Looking forward to this. Looking forward to the update.
Yeah, me too. Many things happened in the last 2 weeks. Is there something what you would like to mention about our review? Do we have a review?
We do. And for anything that I missed, I'm very grateful to my followers who sent me the screenshot, who are supporting the channel and have been aware of the validations that's come in. So we did have on episode 1, we talked about the war escalating, cyber war with China. We mentioned it a couple of times, Spirit mentioned it. And on the 26th of March, it was validated on the news. We have the screenshot, which we can provide, and it lets people see that took place. We've also, we took down about the Trojan horse in episode 1, and about the holy war and the false worship. And again, Spirit has been kind of continuous with that message. They were continuing with that message through episode 2 as well as episode 1, and they also talk about it coming up in episode 3. And we do have an occasion on the 26th of March where the immigration is affecting in many ways, but we're talking purely about the false worship and about Christianity. So it's really, as Spirit said, it's not really an army of peace. It's an army of war being prepared. And on the 26th of March, again, there was validation from the government and from the news that you could see. You kindly were able to send me a video, and we talked about Spirit, talk about the star structures, how they're a roadmap, how they're not what people think they are. There's so much more to them. And you kindly shared a video with me of a young boy, and he used the star structures basically as a roadmap to discover a Mayan city or Mayan temples, which was really interesting. And again, it validated what Spirit has been telling us. So again, it brings in about the Europeans, Europe. I want to talk about Europe in the sense that episode 1 and episode 2, again, we discussed about the false worship. We discussed how it was going to affect Europe as a whole going forward. And there's countries now coming out, and they're officially saying, that they're now concerned that there's such an influx that it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming in the sense that they are now feeling threatened. So again, that is linking in with what Spirit is saying, and there is genuine immigrants, people who need homes, who need support, and that we're all for that in any way. What we're talking about is purely the false army that is coming. Okay, it's actually here and it's being prepared, and Spirit are very much trying to make us aware that it's not a holy army. It's not an army of peace and love. It's an army of war and destruction. So can you remember, Marcus? So this is really interesting. And anybody who knows myself and how I work with Spirit know that I will never doubt anything Spirit give me, because they will always they will always prove themselves in time or at the time. But in episode 1, I mentioned terrorists, DNA, not fresh. And I know some people have been a bit baffled by that, me included, because I will never add to Spirit's messaging, because that's changing their message. So as we go forward, Spirit kind of giving me a little bit more and a little bit more. And remember, I said this, now we talked about this in episode 1. And the answers to this is in episode 3 coming up, which we will be talking about coming up. And it's really interesting. So I wanted to also explain, sometimes Spirit will give you a rhyme, or they will give you a message and draw you to a specific thing. And it's how we interpret that. So it's not necessarily exactly what, not that they're right in what they're saying, but they could be giving you an example, okay? Could be giving us an example. And we talked about, for football fans in episode 2, we did talk about a football match being cancelled because it wasn't safe. There was an attack on a player, but everything was fine. And I have written beside that Man City. Now, I'm not saying that this won't come true with Man City, but what has come true is a week and a half ago in Northern Ireland, this exactly took place with 2 other football teams. So again, I still want to stand over that because I've written Man City, so I believe there's still something to come with Man City. And the car industry is, we got in episode 2 also, it's quite worldwide. You know, it's not just with UK, it's with America, it's with all around in the UK, all around the world, and it's affected us greatly. So it's going to affect a lot more people, you know, and there's more coming out about it more and more each time. So we talked about London Bridge in episode 2. London Bridges, we talked about that, and I think in episode 1 also, about London bridges falling down. And I said at the time, it's either a code name for the royal family, because I know when the Queen passed, there was like code names for when, if she passed at Windsor, if she passed it, you know, in London, there was code names in that way. And I also talked about a terrorist attack to come. There was a bridge knocked down, quite a large frigging bridge in America, but I still want to stand over the London bridges falling down. And I do believe it is connected to the royal family, and I do believe it is a code word. But I also want to say there is still going to be a terrorist attack in London. So again, I do want to stand over that. So we talked about in episode 2 about President Putin being an armchair warrior. Don't be fooled, trusted. He will not stick to the agreement. And on the 23rd of March, which was after we had forecasted, everything we forecast came true afterwards, and that we're talking about. And he backed out of an agreement on the 23rd of March. Exactly what Spirit said. We talked about in episode 2 about the royal family, the revamp changes going to be made. Harry was going to be told to stay away. Succession next year, parades, showed me like celebrations, but parades and also. And about how Harry would come back to the UK with his family. And the palace was trying to keep as much as possible under wraps. So part of that has already come true with Kate's diagnosis. Kate, Princess of Wales, did come out and make the announcement that unfortunately she is being treated for cancer, which we wish her well. There is more of an update on that in episode 3 coming. I also want to say, it was only yesterday, it was on the news that Harry and Meghan are considering now coming back to the UK to live with their children. So I still stand over that, and I believe that will still all come true. We talked about Easter time, about travel disruptions, but we also talked about there's also going to be disruption throughout the year for various reasons. Yes, again, there was planes off the runway, there was planes grounded, there was a lot of disruption during the holiday season. And we've also, at the moment in Europe, now I'm not sure about worldwide, but I can validate Europe. There's an epidemic of whooping cough amongst tourists and holiday places. And it's really disrupting the tourist industry right now. So again, that's the 24th of March, planes were grounded. We gave news about a Navy frigate being damaged. Again, we have the validation for that on the 25th of March. And we can enclose all these validations in this episode. So we talked about Army Reserves being called up. Part of that's came true, but I want to still stand over that and say that there's more to come where that's concerned. So we know that President Putin, he officially called up another 150,000 conscripts to his army, but I believe that that's only touching the iceberg, and it will be more than just Russia doing so. So everything that we have been able to validate today, we can show, and we will show within the recording. And for what hasn't come through yet, it will, 100% it will. Spirit are telling us that as much information as they can, because they're trying to awaken us. They're trying to help us see what is going on in our world. And they're really trying to go, hey guys, look, listen, pay attention. They're trying to help us, and they're showing us many truths. So those screenshots we will be able to include. And thank you to the followers who are supporting Prophetic News and with the Society of Parapsychological Studies and with myself, Judith Millar. So I'm very grateful for you sending us the information. If we don't see it, they're sending it to us. So it's nice to see. So apart from all what's happened already, that brings us to episode 3, Marcus.
Okay, but this was the review part. Do you have some news from the spirit world? What is most likely to happen the next few days?
Well, I have it written down to include about a helicopter accident. It's already been validated today. It's just been validated on the news today. So I wasn't going to include that, but I have, even right up till today, Spirit were giving me messages. So some of it is quite relevant, and yes, there's some of it going to come true. If people pay attention to the timeline of our episodes, that when they were published, when they went live, to the dates of the validations, some of them are only a couple of days difference. Some of them are maybe a week's difference. So, and some's maybe going to be a couple of months. So if people pay attention to dates, some of it's coming quickly, validating through quite quickly. And I know that there's information that's we've to share here in episode 3 that is going to come through quite quickly as well. So it is. So yeah, there's lots more to share. Lots more.
Okay, Judith, I say thank you for your review and for your words. And Dear audience, I hope we see you next time when we have once again our review and update here on this channel, the Prophetic News with Judith Millar and your host, Markus Verneutzer. And don't forget, be kind, be nice. People will react positive to it. Until the next time, see you soon. Bye.
Take care.